everybody, I hope you're doing fine. It was so relaxing and having a great time. We're trying our best staying at home, and that's it. Tonight I'm gonna have a conversation with a great Australian artist who's called Katika Schultz. Katika Schultz is a multidisciplinary artist who was born in Sydney, Australia. She studied fine art at the National Art School Printmaking. Katika's interests lie in psychology, mythology, and the neutral environment. With careful caution, she unlocks art's ability to bring people together and engage in contemporary discussions. Katika's compassion for humankind can be seen in her figurative and portraiture works. She hopes to create interaction, and joy, and encouragement from her art. She's won many awards, some of which I would like to mention here are 2019 Northern Beaches Arts and Community Grant receiver $10,000 for a community mural project, Narrabeen. 2019 Honourable Mention Prize winner, 2004 Senior High Winner Art Fest, 2002 Junior High Winner Art Fest, 2000 Mosman Youth Art Prize, Junior Printmaker Award, 2000 Mosman Youth Art Prize, 3rd place. Let me ask her to join me to have a conversation with, and let's try and just waiting to be connected with her. And all right, let's see what's. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, try one more time, trying to get her on air here. Waiting, and to see what's gonna happen. Oh. There is an internet probably problem. All right, let me tell you about my day. Today I was feeling actually a little bit down. I paid for my car registration. I paid for my tax. And was crazy. But I'm happy because now I'm gonna have a conversation with Katika. I'm still waiting for Kat. What's going on? I don't know. We tried it a few times before. All gonna send her again.
Hey, boy.
Hello. I can't hear your voice. Where are you? I can't see you.
Yeah, I'm trying. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't be. That's absolutely fine. I was telling about my great day to my audiences that I had to pay. There we go. Woo!
Yay! Oh, that freaks me out so much.
Eventually, I can't believe that.
Yep.
So, all right, you have to be hurried because I've got lots of questions. And
yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Let's try that. We didn't talk before. Oh, hi, how you doing, Katika?
Yeah.
Alrighty, do you want to say hi to people who are watching us?
Hey guys, my name's Katika.
All right,
Very
thank you.
excited to be here.
Very quick. So tell me, how are you doing? Such a crazy like days and such a crazy environment, and regarding of coronavirus, how you been? How you managing the things?
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel very lucky, and I feel very grateful that I've got a full studio set up at home. I've got a garden. I've got bees. I've got so many things I can do. So I'm definitely one of the lucky ones, and I keep telling people that it's too good to be true. But I feel for a lot of people out there that don't have access to such things. So it's always going to be an emotional roller coaster, right?
Of course, yeah. I was talking to another artist who's friends of mine, like before I contacted you. So it doesn't make it really different for us because we're creative and we don't really care that we are isolated or not. Because sometimes when I want to write scripts, I isolate myself purposely, intentionally. But you know what's the difference now? It's like, is it like we know that we have to be in this situation? You know what I mean? That's the difference. All
yeah,
right,
for sure.
so, yeah, one of the great things about you is your a multidisciplinary artist. What does it mean, and how can you shift between them? Tell me.
Yeah, I suppose I have always been encouraged. So both my parents are artists, and from a very young age, I was always encouraged to do art at home. And on the weekends when I got to see my dad, he would set out still lifes for me. And each weekend would be a different medium. So one weekend would be watercolor, another would be lino cut. So I suppose I kind of fell in love with lots of different mediums, and I haven't really stopped. So
Okay.
multidisciplinary is just for me it's many different mediums, and I have done a lot of sculpture and things in the past, but I don't necessarily do that anymore. I like 2D. I actually don't like taking up too much space. It's a bit odd.
Okay. Tell me more.
But yeah.
Tell me more.
About the disciplines, or
Yes. Yeah.
so I'm doing a major in printmaking at National Art School still. I've slowly chipped away at that over 6 years, so I did it part-time. And that's pretty amazing. It's such an amazing school. I love it, and I'm obsessed. And so that's it based in print. So we use these huge presses, which you need a lot of pressure to get the ink out of the block or ink out of the copper. And it's an amazing process. This is never-ending learning. You're always learning something new, and it's quite collaborative. You always need help. So you think of a painter and they're stuck in a little tiny spot by themselves all the time, but with printmaking you need to sit in a circle, and you're always having to ask people to come and help you print something or do something. So yeah, it's great.
Yes, of course. So Katika, I was looking. Well, my very first impression when I was like browsing or exploring your page on Instagram, another interesting things that I came across about your work is like your paint on the wood, and with watercolor, delicately, like, and very professionally, like very elegant, very delicate, and explain it how, because I was like amazed. It was super cool. How have you been doing that, and why you chose that? Why you've chosen that style?
Yeah, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, so probably one of my favorite things to do at the moment is to paint on wood, and I use watercolor, and then I use watercolor dry pencils. So in tiny little strokes. So how I came about that was it was a project at uni, and I wanted to experiment with one directional one directional strokes. So just stroking in one direction, right? So just making a whole picture out of one direction. And I did a lot on paper. Yeah, so just drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and changing colors and stuff. But it led me to this love of it. And then I discovered a wood that was very one directional. So I started drawing on that and following the grain of the wood. And I just love it because it looks like it's a fabric or something, you know. It's got this other world going on that I
was surprised because I thought, well, is that a paint or is that a wood or is it's like it's 3D? And I was
I'm amazed. I love it and I'm addicted, you know.
That's a good addiction.
I'll show you some later.
We're gonna to the point that I want to show it actually to us, but I want to ask my question. There are lots of questions come through.
That's fine.
And because I want to have a great conversation, guys, with my lovely guests. So I go through the very first question because there are like more than 20 questions here, or more than 25. Well, how old were you when you started doing this? And yeah.
How old was I when I started making art?
Yeah.
I think like every kid, you draw. But I remember looking through my primary school, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was an artist or a vet, you know, like looking after animals. So I've always been obsessed with art. I suppose I started taking it seriously when I was about 15, 13, because I went to a special art school for high school. So
the one that I mentioned, like National Art School.
No, instead of going to a normal high school, I went to a high school that had an extra component of art, and I got in on a portfolio. So yeah, always been obsessed with art.
Okay. All right. So what elements do you use most in your work? And apart from that, so what inspires you the most when you want to start to create something?
Yeah.
Two different questions. I try to.
That's all good. No worries. So I feel like inspiration builds up in me. I'm like a vessel. It's, you know, and it builds up over it could be a week or a day or something could happen. Anything that causes emotional strife or even joy can all of a sudden make me want to create. But mostly it's an investigation into something. So now that I'm a bit older and I've dedicated my life to art, I seek out inspiration and I try and find something that's going to work with what I want to work on. So a lot of books. I do a lot of reading, mostly scientific stuff or something that I'm going to learn from. I don't really like fantasy books, even though I love a movie. Yeah, so anything that I can learn from. Nature is probably my number one, and then people is probably the biggest influence. Like you'll see with my portraiture, I'm fascinated with psychology. I want to paint your picture, Borna.
Right, let me do the pose now. That made me say it up, you darling. Thank you. So, what elements do you use most in your work?
What do you mean? What do you mean by an element?
You're mainly working like mostly doing the watercolor on the wood. Am I right at this stage, or no? You're just doing you use different elements or different.
Yeah. At the moment, I have two disciplines. I have the watercolor on wood, and then I have the watercolor on cotton. It's like a really, really thick cotton paper, and that's black. So yeah, but I usually do that from life. So that's my portraiture kind of. I'm trying to do as many portraits this year as possible, which is really hard when I'm not allowed to speak much.
Oh, well, yes, yeah, well, okay. So you started at a very early age, like when I did, like when I started making films. So I was at the age of 13. I assuming that you were like in the similar age when you started, like at 12, 11, or probably, around that age when you started. Um, just having a talent is enough for what you're doing as an artist. Because I believe we have millions of artists in the world, but they're not necessarily um, literate and they are not up to date. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think I kind of sit in a space where I believe everyone is talented to a certain degree in something. It might not be art, it might be something else. I think we all have passions and interests in a particular area. And if we follow that and if we dedicate ourselves to that, that's when we become to see a glimpse of mastery. So, yeah, so I feel like I've been running a artist-run gallery for about a year now. And I have a lot of people that come to me with their works and ask me for whether they can be in a show or whether they can be a part of something. And the answer is always yes, you can always be a part of something because that's our motto, is that it's open. But
Yeah.
there's obviously a selection criteria, and I struggle sometimes to really give everyone the right feedback. So yeah, it's
Why?
difficult. Oh, because it's a sensitive thing, and I'm not the end person. I'm not the end opinion, right? You know, I have to show a lot of works that I don't like, but I can see they have talent, and I see that someone else will like it, and those works always sell. It's amazing. The ones I don't like always sell. So who am I, right? But yeah, I do believe that there is talent, and then I think it's about passion and dedication.
If you remember that I had a conversation with Kat last night, and this is my like common question from everyone because I want to understand I'm doing the right things or they're doing the right things or either of us doing the right things. If someone wants to, like, let's say if you want to become an actress in the movie, it's very easy for me to see it. Like, you've got that talent, you've got that passion, or just want to become famous, you know. And
Sure.
some people just giving themselves lots of like uh, credit for what they're really not. And I prefer to say, well, you're not a good painter. You think you are, you've got it, but you are not a good painter. That's what I meant by that question. Or if I see someone who is like, who loves to become a filmmaker or something, but if I don't see it in that person, I prefer to say it straight away rather just say, oh, you need to work on it. That's what I meant by that question. Like
I
if
understand
someone,
now. Sure. Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
understand what you're saying. And yeah, absolutely. If it was a point where if I had to be a judge on a panel or something,
mhm.
like, and say yes or no, of course I would be honest. And that I think it comes down to whether you want to make a career out of something. My dedication to art hasn't always involved money. I've tried a few numerous times to involve money, and it's always gone to shit. So it has to come from a place of authenticity, and I think everyone could have a go at acting or but they may not. They should all have a go, right? But they might not get selected for a film. I think
Yeah,
that if you haven't gone through a bit of trauma with from life, you really, yeah, it can you can really come across, and you can really get too engaged with your ego and not be able to see things clearly, I suppose.
yeah, yeah. And I believe we, as an artist, we like to deliver our message or messages from our works. What do you want, or what would you like your audience to get about your works? What sort of messages you're trying to give? or you want them to get from by looking at your artistic works?
Yeah, I suppose I want to relate. I'm trying to tell a story. I want to relate to the humanity in everyone. Like, no matter where you're from or what, we all go through really similar things as humans. No matter what discriminatory things people can put on us, we all go through something similar. Birth, life, death, all those things are relevant. And psychology, that's where my psychology part comes in, is that I'm trying to relate to the rest of humanity. And it might not always be pretty, it might not always be the best thing that person needs to see that day. So I don't think my art necessarily always has to go on the wall or whatever. It's a form of healing and processing for myself.
Therapy, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of therapy for yourself first. Yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. And hopefully for someone else if they want to join in the conversation.
It does actually. That another question just crossed my mind is like, are you doing intentionally, like you've chosen like a dark texture or background for most of your portraits? What's the purpose for doing that instead of like choosing the more colorful background?
Yeah, I love black for starters. I'm obsessed with black. I wear black every day. But I think what it is for me is so when I'm painting someone's portrait, there comes a stage when you're drawing from life that you forget what you're drawing and you're just looking at light and dark and facets. It's like small little shapes, and they might, and you go into this zone. And I think what I really like about the black paper is that it's like something coming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
In a lot of my portrait works, I put a white background in, but it's still it turns up to be a dark grey. So, but then with the black paper, it will show up little corners and define the shapes for me without me having to put down a black, So I like the emergence of a picture. It feels a lot more relatable. I was talking to my art crew the other night about this, how I hate white paper. A white canvas, even 15 years down the track, it's still not my cup of tea. I still don't like white things. So yeah.
Fair enough. So you don't like it. It doesn't. All right. That's fine.
It's very it doesn't have any character, and I really like working with something that's got character already, like the wood.
Sure. Now I want to ask you a favor. So you know what I'm going to ask you. So I want to show us, give us a little bit tour. So
sure.
And show us around, and let's see what you got there.
No worries.
And you know that how to use that. There you go. Perfect.
Woohoo. Okay, so I've got a little collection here. Mm-hmm. This is one of my lino cuts. So this is a couple of years old, but it's that's one plate, and then that's another plate, and then it's been doubled.
Is that a heart, did you say?
Yeah, sorry. Here you go.
Okay, what did you use? Is that like a pen, or is that, what is that?
It's lino cut. So you cut into a piece of lino, and then you put ink on it, and then you these are printmaking techniques I'm showing you just to start off. This is a portrait I did a few years ago. This is a lithograph, so It's quite large. Lithographs you draw onto a big limestone stone. Mm-hmm. And then you put all these acids and weird stuff, and then you put it through a press, and it's complicated. It just having a ciggy,
Don't
looking at
move.
his
Don't move.
phone. Sorry.
Okay. Now you can move.
This is just it's quite big. It's a portrait from life. It's just with pencil.
Wow. Looks very
And
realistic.
then
I
this
love
is what you
those.
really
I
want
love
to see.
those. That's yes.
So that's
Oh
my
wow.
bro. That was done
Okay.
at Christmas. And on the other side is my niece. So I do these double-sided. The paper's quite thick, and it
Okay.
can take a beating.
What is
Because
that?
it's
The watercolor?
yeah. So the white is gouache,
Okay.
and the watercolor and the rest of the color is watercolor.
Okay. Don't move too fast because we're just trying to see what you've done.
Sorry, Borna.
No, no, I'm just
Sorry, guys.
like, I'm directing you. So that's all right.
Good. It's
I
good.
like
I
this
need.
one.
You like that one? Yeah. All right. So there's a few more. I'll show you. This is one I just did the other day. This is from a photograph of a
Okay.
friend. This is a self-portrait. Doesn't really look like me, but that's done from the reflection in my studio window. So what I do is I make these little books. So they're all double-sided pages.
What is that one? Is that someone's lying down? Yeah.
Yeah, that's in life draw. I do a lot of life drawing classes when
That's
I'm not
interesting.
confined to my house. Yeah.
Wow.
And this is one of the wood pieces, but I've incorporated it into the book. So that's a self-portrait as well.
Wow.
So recently I started going a bit bigger with my woodworks. So I'll show you them. So this is a triptych I'm working on. I can't
Wow.
remember how big they are, but they're like,
I like the left one.
you
The
like him?
girl. Yeah. Is that him or
It's a
her?
little boy, but it's from like really old. So they had these weird swimming costumes
Okay.
made out
With
of
the
wool.
go up a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. And then this one is a portrait of a friend of mine that I'm doing.
I love this one. Yeah, that was the very first one actually drew my attention. I really like this one.
Awesome.
It was,
Yeah,
yes,
he's my mate.
yes.
He's
And
an
can you
amazing.
coming back? Can you just stepping back a little bit? That let's see the
Yeah,
whole image actually. How big
my
is
chest.
that portrait?
Sorry.
How big is the like the size wise?
It's about 80 centimeters tall, so like almost a meter.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Now you can go a little bit closer and let's
He's
see.
he's a playwright in Melbourne, actually, Borna. This guy. His name's Scott Welsh. He lectures at Victoria University.
Okay. He's a musician also.
No, I don't think
No.
so. He could be.
Okay.
He can tell you any word from any Bob Dylan song that's ever been. And then
Wow.
I've got a few up on the wall, but
They're totally different.
totally different. This one's from a life drawing class. And then this one I love. This is my grandma and my auntie. They're all, and then another kind of grandma figure. They've all gone to heaven, and they're my angels.
Okay.
Not that I really believe in heaven, but you know.
Okay. What is this? What is
This
this one?
one's a woman's or child's coat from Uzbekistan.
Go closer. I like the combination of the colors you use actually. Wow. Is that on a piece of wood? Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
so lots of different styles, hey? Lots of different interests. And this one is what I won the prize for last year.
Which one? Show us.
The Honourable mention, this triptych. So it's quite small. So it's about home. A lot of my work is about home. This is
Wow.
me making bread with some lovely little kitties I know.
Wow.
And that's my so this is the beginning of the wood. They're really small. They're only like 8 inches
Wow.
big.
And
Yeah.
when it's smaller, it makes it more difficult. Am I right?
Uh, not for me. I like
But
small. I like small, working small actually. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my seat.
that's right. But um, but usually it makes it difficult when you want to do like a watercolor and squash on the wood.
Sorry.
In general, when you want to do watercolor on the wood, when it's like a small pieces in comparison comparing to the bigger wood, so does it make it different? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Um, it's funny, when I was doing small works, it was really hard for me to get bigger. And now that I'm doing bigger, it's really hard for me to go back. But the big ones take so long, Borna. Like, it takes me months because there's so many layers.
Wow.
So because I'm only stroking in one direction, right? Takes
Yeah,
takes so long.
I can't imagine. I can't
Anyway.
imagine. Wow. Wow. All right. So, what are the most important things that you're struggling in your field? It could be anything as an artist.
Before COVID or after COVID?
That's a very good question. Before and now let's assuming after that. No, now all before that. You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Over the
I
past
really
3 years.
struggled to get enough before this period. Before I lost my job as a bartender.
Oh,
I definitely struggled with juggling uni work and studio time because I have my own practice at home as well as uni. So, and then I also run the gallery. So it was a very time poor situation. And another thing I probably struggle with is I'm not the academic type. So I'm challenging myself constantly to write grants and to get engaged in this world of academia that's like learning another language, and so
very
that
good.
that is tricky.
Why do you think is that important? Because I don't believe that's very important to be academic as an artist.
Have you ever written a
Why?
grant? I'm sure you have.
Yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But all of us struggle. We have to have a second
Yeah.
jobs. Definitely
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to
I don't mind that. I
survive.
don't mind that part. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my this question actually is quite related to what we've been talking. Well, I was going to ask, like, as a young artist, so if you need to get funds and help from the Australian government to advance your business, will the government help you, or do you have to work really hard to convince them?
Yeah, so I can only speak for the in Sydney environment because I haven't tried getting involved with the Melbourne art scene or anywhere else in Australia, which is Melbourne is amazing in comparison. Like they're a lot more supportive,
Isn't it?
supposedly. Yeah. So I lived in Melbourne for a couple of years and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. My brother's still there. But Sydney, it is very competitive. There's a lot of people here that are go-getters and they have amazing brains and know how to write grants and they're just amazing. But look, the
Don't make
Australia Council.
don't make noise. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Fiddling with my pencils. Australia Council's just released a bunch of emergency grants for artists, which helps. Sometimes your local council will help out. So we won a grant last year. I wrote that with a head artist, a mural artist, and it was pretty full-on experience. So it's my first grant I've ever helped out writing, and it was really full-on. But if you get your vision right and your direction right, and you get the right people involved, I think you've got a chance. And just always go to openings. Like, always go to the openings, even if you're tired, even if you don't really want to go, even if you look like shit. Just go and just get to the opening. You'll meet someone, and then the next time you'll look amazing and hot, and that person that you met will come and talk to you again. And like, life is crazy, you know. Like, you just have to know what you want. And I think dedication is really important. Not that I'm speaking from, like, I haven't made it. I'm not even, like, I got rejected from an art prize last week that I put so much effort into. Like, I was like 2 months. Why did I get rejected?
Yeah.
Probably because I don't come off as a professional artist on my online presence. I have photos of the fish I caught, or like, I involve a lot more, and I don't have a personal website. I think that really makes a difference too.
I don't think that makes a difference, because my last question for you is like, the social platforms or social cyber, like, it's been helping you to promote your works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
No website, am I right?
Yeah, like, in engaging and people, I suppose you're right. And I've made amazing friends on Instagram. I think Instagram's amazing for artists, and just, yeah, hi new friend. Yeah, so I think it's really good. And I've built the Your Way platform, the gallery I run, that is mainly from Instagram, like engaging artists locally, finding people's work. You know, there's a really grassroots section that doesn't need websites, that doesn't need academia, that, you know, that's got that culture and that essence that I think is amazing. I think, yeah, so starting the gallery, we started it at my workplace, which is Narrabeen RSL, and they're not-for-profit. All we do is go to work and try and make people have fun and have a great time, and put on bands, and just, it's like really old school Australian style. And they helped me make Your Way, and then I found all these amazing volunteers, and yeah, it was just like this thing I had to do. And it's just that meeting like-minded people, or people that want to do something, is just it's so amazing, and I'm so grateful. It's been such an amazing year.
Exactly. It's all about connection, and I believe connection is the most important things for an artist. And that's it. It was so lovely talking to you.
Thanks, Borna. Absolutely.
And thank you very much for tonight. Did you like our conversation? Absolutely.
I like being questions when I don't know what they are.
That's okay.
Keeps it fresh. Yeah. It was really good. It was a lovely chat, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the next ones you do.
Definitely. For me, I love to being a mediator, so I want to introduce talented people. I like to talk to special people who I believe are talented. I don't care how I was talking with celebrities during my shows, 1 million followers, 2 million followers, but they are being special to me. Like, I like their works. I don't care how many followers people have. I don't care how many followers I have. I really don't care. You know what I mean? What I do care is that how can I promote artists and link them together? Yeah. Introduce somebody like you or whoever I've spoken with to my followers, and that is the point. And then they can connect with each other. because you probably know somebody else, you can find someone I'm talking to, they're all living in Australia, and say, oh my God, you're doing the same things or blah, blah, blah. That is my point. What I like it, I've been doing it internationally. I've been
Yeah.
speaking with so many people, and I booked like another 100 artists or non-artist people for the next
Woo!
couple of months. Yeah.
You're a legend, bro. I really, really, I really thank you for what you're doing for the arts here. It's really good.
Yeah, you're
And
welcome.
I know you don't care how many followers you have, but the fact that you have quite a lot is your power, and you're using that responsibly,
Yeah, I appreciate it. People being super, extremely supportive. Plus, we've got a thousand million of talented people on this
Yeah.
beautiful planet. I don't wait. When I send the invitation to somebody, if that person accepts that, perfect, within 24 hours. Otherwise, I will move on because there are lots of people who want to be interviewed, who want me like to show and talk to them and introduce them actually to the world. It doesn't matter they're Iranian, it doesn't matter they're American, Australian, I don't care. I choose them and said, I'm giving you this opportunity. I want because I believe in you, because I believe you're unique, and I want to talk to you. If you don't want, okay, bye, next one. Because
Yeah.
people in nowadays want to, artists should be seen like their works, and I'm doing it like freely in a quarantine time. So, and I've gotten lots of like heaps of positive feedback, great feedback, and I'm so privileged that I've been talking with lots of great artists, included yourself, and I'm learning also when I'm having conversation with different artists and appreciating their works really. Anyways, I have to wrap up. it was lovely talking to you. You're gonna have an amazing time, and I'll talk to you later.
Take care, Borna. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. You take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye. Thank you very much for watching us. I really appreciate that. And sorry, I had to turn off the comments. If you want to find out more about Katika Schultz, you can go to her page and be in contact with her. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, night, evening, morning, and be well. Gonna turn off the lights, and that's it. And I'm going to have a little bit doing relaxation. Bye.